my feelings on that. You did go, and I guess, to Thorn Grove Church, and I must say that you answered all the questions, or you wore them out, one or the other. I'm not sure on that, or they wore you out. But, I stood before this committee and many of these commissioners here, and I held up the budget. And, funding wasn't mentioned that night. And again, that was, I believe, on August 28th, before there was a commissioner change on September 2nd. Here again, we find you before this body, before the end of the fiscal year. That's sort of like the schools going forward, digging the footers and asking for $6 million. If this is a well thought out plan, then it should be well thought out as far as the financing. We're talking, $7.5 million today, but it's a $30 to $33 million project overall. Where is that money going to come from in light of the police pensions and other things that we've got to fund right now? They've got to be a pecking in priority order that the commissioners recognize here. That just doesn't go to you today, but again, I just want to point out to all the commissioners how this was worked. And we use the word trickery. I don't look at it as trickery. I use it as a good, anyway, it was well thought out. But we do have other things to finance this year. And, they are a lawsuit pending. And no, I don't think you or your rep or John Balance reputation has done anything to ever offend the courts. I think we've got good attorneys, but when is this going to be resolved? Can the attorneys for either side not file a scheduling order and give us some sort of definite timeline? John, I'll ask our law director, could these attorneys file a scheduling order that gives us a definite date with the judge to give us insight as to when the lawsuit could be resolved?
Commissioner, our rules do provide that we can enter into a scheduling agreement, have a scheduling order to set out when discovery is, if there's to be any discovery, when discovery is to be completed, and set some deadlines. I will say this, I, as of yet, still have not received the transcript, which is one of those things that I want to see before I file an answer. I will say this, David Book is an honorable attorney, and the citizens of East Knox County have chosen wisely. David is a very zealous advocate. He has given us an extension of time to answer, and so that's the way we've been proceeding. We have yet to file an answer because we've yet to receive the transcript.
Commissioner, if I may,
sure.
When we stood before you in August, the 5-year capital plan was a matter of public record, and it had been approved sequentially in previous years that showed in next year and the following year those dollars were to come to the Development Corporation. We're not asking for more money than this body has contemplated and had planned to give us. The only thing that we're asking for is for you to appropriate those dollars so that if we were to enter into a contract, we could do so with a commitment to have the funding behind it. Commissioner Grease's plan to move those dollars to next year or this year's budget, it works fine for us too, but you're not giving us any more dollars than you had previously said you were going to give us. It just allows us to enter into contracts with a guaranteed stream of funding.
But still, as you stand before us today, you've not given us a picture of how $30 to $33 million is going to be spent by your corporation.
Well, but at the time of the
and could that be 40 or 45 millions a year or two down the road if you don't sort of get it in gear?
Well, we believe we're in budget. We showed the county commission a concept plan on what we were going to deliver. We're traveling a fairly good distance with infrastructure to get there. It was It was a site that was selected laboriously, and there was opposition to it, as there has been for every site that we've ever selected in the past. But at the end of the day, it is a very good site on an interstate location that will likely be the last site, unless a major road is ever built somewhere that one doesn't exist now. I think this is going to be it.
But what you're saying, the investment now is in a property that is a very hot property. Should the lawsuit prevail, then you lost nothing, because you should be able to turn it over and recoup the funding that's already went into it.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question.
The money that was used to purchase the land has purchased the land. And this is a very hot property, as you point out, and as everybody has pointed out. There would be probably no economic loss to you or Knox County should the funding not be available and that property could be turned, or it could sit in inventory. Just like East Knox said, in slow absorption, and some of these words that I've learned, it would not be a loss to Knox County.
Well, you would lose the opportunity to create jobs.
Yes.
The ability for that particular piece of property to be defined as hot in any property in the rest of that intersection depends on us running utilities to that site. Until utilities reach there, it's going to remain pretty much the way it is.
Yes.
Not hot.
Thank you.
Commissioner Luto.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't know if John Owens or the other attorney, if we agreed to a scheduling of the proceedings, how long do you reasonably expect for this to take? I mean, we're talking months, years?
It depends, Commissioner, on whether we can get on on how soon we can get on the court's calendar. It depends on the process between now and the date of trial. I would assume, David, you chime in if you have a different opinion, but I would assume that we're talking at least a year to get to where we need to be.
I might respectfully disagree. I believe if we got a scheduling order, the three of us, Mr. Valiant and you and I met with the Chancellor, I believe most of this will go down with documents as opposed to witnesses. It'll be a minimum of witnesses and probably a minimum of deposition time. Conceivably, 120 days if we could meet right after the first of the year with the Chancellor, which I don't think any of us can meet before then with him.
I'll hold you to that minimum deposition time.
And I didn't mean to show any disrespect for Mr. Valiant. I've known him and worked with him for 25 years. I meant the Development Corporation, if that's what their intent was, not Mr. Valiant.
Well, John Valiant, does that sound like a reasonable time frame to you?
Yeah, many times these things can go forward really on the record. Most of what a court is going to hear is what you guys heard, and so there's not going to be a need for a lot of discovery, if any, and there's not going to be a need for a lot of witnesses, if any. The court can read the transcript and make up its mind on what it wants to do based on the transcript. So there's no reason why this thing should draw out a long time. It could, and I'm not standing here trying to tell you that there's some short time frame that this is going to occur in. The court sets its own docket. We don't. And it's going to set its docket when it decides to set it. And I don't think that we can say with any degree of certainty that this thing is going to be heard in any particular time frame, but the three of us get along, and I mean we'll try to expedite it as much as we possibly can.
We'll say this: our Chancellor's docket, as I understand it, is the busiest in the state. So our folks, there are none busier than our Chancellors.
Mike Edwards?